back to another episode of Puzzle Insider. I'm Greg from Puzzle Wanderer, and today we have some interesting articles. We'll start by talking about special objective puzzles. These are puzzles you won't see every day. Then we'll go briefly about the history of mechanical puzzles. There's some really mind-blowing facts that I didn't know and I really want to share this with you. Then we'll talk about how to be better at solving puzzles. This is a very cool experiment I made and I got some interesting ideas and tips for you guys. Then we'll go over the design of the month. We'll have a special guest appearance from this month's creator of the month, which is Beats and Pieces. And lastly, we'll talk about the featured puzzle of the month, Geburt by Roger D. And with that said, let's start. Every puzzle in existence requires a different type of thinking. Different objectives in puzzles will require different parts of your brain to work while solving this puzzle. Every now and then I tackle a puzzle that is very different in its objective. Not long ago I tried symmetry puzzles, which really made me push my limits in puzzle solving. But there's also a few very interesting puzzle objectives that you will not see really often. And these puzzle objectives actually make your brain work big time. Some very unusual puzzle objectives I saw in my life. Anti-slide puzzles. Puzzles when you need to pack pieces inside a tray in such a way that none of the pieces slide. This is a very different approach to solving a puzzle and will require you to think differently. There's also lid covering puzzles. For example, Osanori Yamamoto makes a lot of puzzles like this where you need to cover the whole lid. It's a kind of a packing puzzle, but it requires slightly different thinking. And lastly, there's no touching packing puzzles. I have only one example for this, which is the Hazmat cargo. And the goal of the puzzle is to fit all the pieces inside in such a way that no piece will be near the other. A very unusual puzzle, and there's so many different variations of puzzle objectives in puzzles. What is the most interesting puzzle objective you ever tried? Let me know in the comments and let's move on to the next article. Welcome back to another Puzzle Hunter mini series. Today I wanted to talk about the oldest puzzles in existence, but then I stumbled upon a very cool article that actually explains the whole history of mechanical puzzles. We'll put a link to this article in the video description, and I want to really quickly talk about some of the puzzles there. It actually blew my mind. I never knew these facts. The first ever puzzle or root for a puzzle was actually a labyrinth, and this was 2,300 years before count. These were really often seen in Egypt and ancient Greece. Everyone knows the famous story about the Minotaur and the labyrinth. This is the most ancient root of puzzles ever. The first tactile puzzle originated around 2,250 years before count, which was a physical dexterity labyrinth kind of thing. I have no images of this, but this was the concept. Then there was a concept called bottom feel vessels. This is kind of a vessel that holds water in it, but when you turn it upside down, the water doesn't go out. So it's more of a trick, kind of an impossible object, but still a very cool root that I had no idea about this before. The first ever origin for puzzle boxes was 200 years before count. These were secret compartments for storing rings. And the last puzzle that I initially thought was the most ancient one is the Stomachion, which originated in year 395 by Archimedes. In this puzzle you had the sections of a square in triangular pieces mainly, and your goal was to pack all of them inside the square. This is a pretty tricky puzzle for a first one, very mathematical as well. Of course we have more puzzles invented after the Stomachion, which were also very interesting, and I can tell you about it more if you guys tell me in the comments that you want to see part 2 of this mini series. With that said, let's move on to the next article. I made a small experiment and asked some Facebook groups I'm in for puzzle solving how to become a better puzzle solver. There's a lot of interesting tips I got from the community. This is gonna be a lot of information found in a really short time. If you ever need any help or tips with solving puzzles, use these tips. These people know what they're saying. First of all is Think by Allard Walker. Everything is designed for a reason. I really can relate to that. If possible, put the largest pieces in first. A very interesting remark. Try solving the puzzle until it stops being fun. That might be 2 seconds and that might be 2 weeks. Then move on to another one that is fun. It's all about fun maximization. You're doing the same thing over and over and it's not getting you anywhere. It's time to try something different. The original quote is from Einstein. Patience, use your hearing, sight and feel, take a break if you're too frustrated. Know thyself. Puzzles require patience, insight and logical reasoning. One has to be willing to think. One also has to be willing to tolerate failure. This is an amazing remark. Thank you very much, Rob, for this. And also choose a suitable puzzle. When you're just starting, you need suitable puzzles. You don't want to overdo it on your first puzzles because this can really be a turnoff. Listen carefully. Shake the puzzle. Many puzzles that appear to be symmetric have a slight asymmetry that is key to solving them. Examine each piece carefully. Take a note of your solving moves because many puzzles are equally difficult to put back together. When in doubt, spin it. Definitely a good idea. Always try to understand the puzzle rather than mindless fiddling. If any of you guys watching commented on these posts, thank you very much for contributing. I hope you guys at home can learn from the tips of these experienced puzzle solvers. And let's move on to the designer of the month. Today's designer of the month is a really experienced designer, but not only in puzzles. His name is Micah Sawyer, a full-time board game and experience designer. My day job is making board games and interactive experiences for large corporations to help communication culture and strategy change it. In my free time, I like making things like escape rooms, apps, 3D printed things, and of course, puzzles. Basically anything that allows people to disappear into other worlds for a bit. Happily married with 2 school-age kids from the States. When did you start puzzling? Micah always loved puzzling. He used to play with Japanese-style puzzle boxes as a kid and really enjoyed them. When I was young, I was obsessed with Myst and King's Quest-style games, and when the first The Room came out, it was a huge inspiration for me. He always enjoyed the mystery, and only later he was introduced to the puzzle world by his best friend, Jason. His favorite type of puzzles is sequential discovery, and least favorite are bursts. What inspired you to design your first puzzle? My first puzzles I designed were for role-playing and video games and were fairly logic and observation heavy. I love to design experience that existed in the fiction of a world and made sense inside that world. When I was introduced to the mechanical puzzle community, I had a huge pile of ideas I was excited to try out and a whole new medium to play in. How would you describe your puzzle design style? I'd say my puzzle style is immersive narrative heavy experiences. For example, the Buried City saga I'm producing currently follows the story of a long buried unknown civilization and the attempt to explore and understand it. There are 3 main story puzzles that are related to each other but fully standalone puzzles. Playing all 3 will make the story richer but not required in any way. Micah Sawyer's future plans. Just finished shipping the Buried Cipher and now he's moving on to the Buried Treasury, the second puzzle in his Buried City saga. It is a medium-weight sequential discovery puzzle that has completed beta testing and is just waiting for my time to free up to release it. After that, he's gonna begin beta testing the 3rd puzzle of the series, which is a fairly challenging multi-path sequential discovery with 40+ unique steps that wraps up this chapter of the core narrative. He still enjoys the concept of the world he's created, so he probably will continue and make more little puzzles, short story puzzles that relate to this world. Overall, I'm just really excited to have found a community that loves the mystery and challenge of puzzles and puzzle boxes. Thank you very much, Micah. It was a pleasure talking with you. And let's move on to the creator of the month. This episode's creator of the month is Michael from Bits and Pieces, a YouTube channel based in France about puzzles and about the puzzling community. He likes including people in his videos. You know what? Let's just ask Michael and see what he has to say. Please tell me about yourself in a few sentences.
Hello everyone, my name is Michael and I created the YouTube channel Bits and Pieces. I am an aerospace design engineer living in the UK. I have a few hobbies that I am truly passionate about, and that includes solving puzzles and beatboxing, which is why I called my channel Bits and Pieces. And I am French, but my videos are in English.
What made you open the channel, Michael?
I have been wanting to create a YouTube channel for a long time. I have attempted to create one a few years ago, but I didn't have a clear idea yet of what I wanted to achieve. I didn't have a good sense of purpose when I first created my videos. When I tried again a few years later, in late 2019, I had 3 objectives: to have fun and express my creativity, to improve my English, and to connect with people. That's how the Bits and Pieces was created.
How would you describe your own channel? What makes it special?
I do a lot of things related to puzzles, not just puzzle solving videos. I really want to connect to people, to talk to them and get to know them. So I created different series where I interview puzzle designers, puzzlers, and travel around the world looking for puzzle shops and interviewing shop owners. I even created a trivia game show related to puzzles where you have guessed it. My goal is to meet as many people that share the same interest in puzzles.
Here's another one. Who is your favorite puzzle YouTuber?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. Because I want to see new and original content, I enjoy Puzzle Masters channel. They have a lot of different series. They have reviews of specific puzzles, solutions for specific puzzles, and a series called Puzzle Time, where they show the latest puzzles available. The information shared by Tyler and Linnea are really helpful. I also enjoy this series, Puzzle Insider, where you talk about upcoming puzzles and other interesting topics. It is such a neat and creative series.
What is your inspiration for video?
There is no one thing in particular that inspires me. For puzzle solving videos, I try to use storytelling to create a fun theme for each video. Once I have decided on the theme, then I will think of ideas to use in the introduction and overall look of the video. For other types of videos, I will try to make them as dynamic and appealing as possible by using relevant pictures and animations.
And what's your most loved and most hated puzzle?
That's a tough one because there are so many puzzles that I really enjoyed solving. If I have to choose from the ones I have solved so far, it might be The Pair o' Dice by Ty Staley. I loved the theme, the mechanisms, the rewards, everything about that puzzle. For the one I hate, it might be The Double Trouble by Jean-Claude Constantin. I am not sure if there were manufacturing issues, but it didn't seem to work properly. I have talked about it on my channel and have proposed a possible solution. Thank you, Greg, for having me, and I hope I will see you next time.
Thank you so much, Michael. It was a pleasure to have you here. And let's move on to the last article for today. This month's feature puzzle from Puzzle Master is called Geburt from Roger D. Roger D is a mystery. He is so mysterious that I couldn't reach him to interview, I couldn't reach him through other designers, I just couldn't reach him. He is a mysterious character. Only a few selected people know who Roger D is. His puzzles are minimalistic and quite interesting, and also quite rare. On a blog post from 2011, comments are saying that Roger D's puzzles are pretty hard to find. It's been 11 years since then. It should just get harder and harder, right? On a blog post from Neil's Puzzle Blog from 2013, he says Roger's puzzles are highly sought after as he no longer makes new puzzles. But looks like Roger D is having a comeback, since Puzzle Master has restocked on his puzzles for a few times already, and I think Roger D is starting to make more puzzles and designing more puzzles. I don't know what we can expect from the future, but currently he's been designing new puzzles that you probably will see on Puzzle Master. His puzzles are definitely weird though. In the last episode I talked about weird puzzles originating from Japan that have this weird unusual vibe to them. Well, Roger D's puzzles have the same exact vibe. In my opinion, that's what I get from them. Also, an interesting thing Roger likes to do is to not give an objective for the puzzle you buy. That means you can buy a puzzle and not know what to do with it until you do it with it. I recommend you guys to check out Puzzle Time episode 127 when Tyler and Linnea explore and play with some cool Roger D puzzles. So go check that out. With that said, another Puzzle Insider video has come to an end. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate your likes, comments, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also feel free to leave comments for requests about future Puzzle Insider articles. I'll make sure to make your requests into articles in the series.